Welcome to day 411 of our DeSo journey. I'm Ed Krasenstein here with my twin brother Brian, and we have two very special, extraordinary guests with us today. Scott Page from the band Pink Floyd and Think NFT, and Mr. Triplet, Alex, who is actually responsible for convincing Scott to get onto DeSo. Welcome both of you guys. It's a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here, especially with my brother, Mr. Triplet, down here. He is definitely my DeSo advocate. He's been training me, and I've been in the Web3 space and into NFTs, but this is kind of a new area that I've been followed a little bit, but now I feel like I'm part of the community. I'm joining up, getting in there. So it's exciting.
Yeah, welcome to the community.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'll take that. That's quite an honor.
So before we get into a little bit of today's news, I just want to say these videos are sponsored by NFT Tech. They're an investor in DeSoFi. And Brian, why don't we get to the diamond question of the day?
Yes, so just answer this question in the comments below this post, and we'll give you some diamonds, usually 3 or 4. And today's question is, how could we improve on this daily show? Maybe there's a section you don't like. Maybe you think they're too long. Maybe you think we should talk more or less about the rest of the crypto space. Maybe you think we should have more people like Scott on every morning.
Or maybe you should have Scott on every morning.
Let's do it.
Every morning. You just committed yourself.
Yeah, the 6 a.m. thing is crazy here in Los Angeles. Ooh, waking up here.
Anyhow, I just want to apologize once more for not having a microphone. Today's the last day that I won't have a microphone. The new one gets here this afternoon. But so in the news today, Brian, the DeSo price keeps falling.
The DeSo price hit, I think it's $12.81 today, a new low. It's definitely below the price point that most venture capitalists got into it last year. So that's something you consider. But yeah, the whole crypto market has been tanking. We got some new inflation numbers today from the US, and they were a little bit hotter than expected. So it kind of brought things down a little bit more today. But yeah. I also want to get to DeSoFi. DeSoFi, I tested them out, the new DeSoFi app on my iPhone using TestFlight. Love it. They're doing a great job. And they announced that they are actually partnering with Base with a collaboration. And Base is going to bring all sorts of new analytics directly into the app. Really cool. Congrats to Nikolai. Congrats to Zenya Land and Rabal, working great. I love seeing these collaborations and just bringing DeSo forward and into the mainstream, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. And the DeSo price actually fell down to 11.81 this morning, Brian, not 12.81. But moving on, Nader made a post about the DAO fork. He confirmed that's going to trigger on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, not today, it's a week from today at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern time. So that's super exciting. He said the upgrades are going to include many breakthrough changes on-chain, non-custodial market, and limit order functionality. It's going to be called Mega Swap. It's going to be a full on-chain order book exchange. It's going to be launching on DeSo, but other apps are going to be able to use it, and DAO is going to be the first. Also, Hypersync is going to become the default syncing mechanism. It takes 20 minutes for nodes to sync rather than the customary 8 hours or approximately 8 hours. It does use about 100 gigabytes of RAM, but this is expected to be fixed. So that will slow up some nodes, but it should be fixed soon. There's also going to be on-chain permissions for derived keys. So you're going to be able to give permission to apps to do stuff with your account, but not do everything. So you could say, I only want apps to make posts with my accounts, but you don't want to have it be able to do coin buys or, maybe even like posts. So I think that's really good. Nader said that that's going to be great for allowing apps to have subscription billing and also for offline transactions, which could be really interesting. Having offline transactions on DeSo, that's something you don't see in the crypto space. And also yield farming applications and lending apps, as well as cross-chain bridges should be coming. And Doran, Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, I just love this. I think that we've all been waiting for this hard fork to hit. Now we have a confirmed date. It gives developers a chance to kind of plan ahead.
Yeah, so Dharmesh also made a post agreeing with Doodles. Doodles made a post saying how, now's the time to be building on DeSo. Now's the time to be building on crypto in general when the market's down, because then when things come back, you're ready. And Dharmesh agreed. He said that building the product tech is important, but also building the community is really important. And Dharmesh has said this a lot, that he believes that, community is key, and DeSo should be focusing more than they have been on building and maintaining the community. Dharmesh Shah, of course, the founder of HubSpot, he's, a serial entrepreneur, and he knows his stuff, and I think he's on to something. Nader replied, and he said that he agrees that community is important. And that's why their top hire right now is a chief business officer. So they're going in that direction. He also said, soon we won't have to choose between building on DAO, which a lot of the community has gotten most of the attention. And he believes that soon you're going to be build DAO and also build the community. So that's going to be in the works. The community is going to be being built. He said they're working on hirings, and in a few months, the organization can look a lot different.
Yeah, I think that was important that he addressed this, because I think a lot of people are thinking right now, they kind of neglected the community in order to kind of work on DAO and concentrate on DAO. I'm glad he kind of realizes this, and that shows that he understands the community. So I'm happy that he said something. Moving on, Ty Fisher, he said that they're aiming to have a developer hangout. This would be the third developer hangout this Friday, May 13th at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And they want to chat about the hard fork, recent hypersync merge, of course, and have questions and answers. The last few went really well. It's going to take place on Chris's Wondolinsky's Vibe Hut. So definitely check that out if you can make it at 3 p.m. Friday afternoon, Eastern time.
Yeah, and what were the top hashtags?
Top hashtags, DeSo was number 1, music, fittingly for Scott being here, was number 2, crypto number 3, swaps, the NFT was number 4, and Bitcoin was number 5. And swaps, they had a giveaway, that's why they're up there. And the top Diamond Day creators over the last 24 hours, according to Diamond App, were Nader, Spunk Art, Regina Marie, Photographer's Corner, DeSoFi, us, Krasenstein, It's Aditya, Dr. Rob, The Devil, Dharmesh, and Design Stuff. So congrats to all of them.
And just before we get to Scott and Alex, I just want to touch on the community events today. There's one at 11 a.m. Eastern time. It's on Clubhouse, Crypto Ladies on the Mic with Chats today, Michelle Lord, Wildography, Calvin Midnight, Debo M, Izzy, Natalie Art, Ayla Croft, Sabira, Kate Kogan, Infrared Artists, and more. And at 1 p.m. Eastern time is Web3 Wednesday on Entra with Sean Tron, Caleb, and many others. So let's get to what you guys are doing.
Yes, so Alex, you actually introduced Scott Page, who was obviously with Pink Floyd, Supertramp, doing a lot of business ventures involved in Web3 and NFTs. You introduced him to DeSo in LA at NFTs LA, I'm hearing, back last month when we were all in LA.
So funny story. I've been trying to get to NFT LA to do some work with Cassius Cuvée. For the longest time, we were actually applying for press passes so I can come in and do some content to work with Cassius. Met up with Cassius and both him and William Laurent, and actually just walked right in with my cameras with no one stopping us. I get a call like midday from Mike Goldberg saying, hey, did you, I met a guy at a barbecue, talk to this guy. I'm like, what are you talking about? So it's Jackson Gilmore, who's a colleague of Scott's. And he goes, I hear you want to go to an after party. I said, oh, I do. Okay, cool. Can we videotape? Can we create content? What do you mean? You just don't want to go? I'm like, no, I want to bring the DeSo community in and let's create content and share the event with our community. So he hands me off to the phone to another colleague of Scott's. It's David. And he's like, no, you got to talk to Scott. But all the while, no one's mentioning who Scott is, right? Like he's the guy running the show. So I finally get on the call with Scott, and about 10 minutes into the call, he tells me, he goes, I'm the guy. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm the guy from Pink Floyd. And it blows me away because I'm totally like caught off guard.
I don't think I said it like that. I didn't say, hey, I'm the guy, because I don't do that. But yeah, it came out the fact that, I was the sax player in Pink Floyd. And so it was funny. Yeah. So we had a conversation. It was great though. But Yeah, listen, I'm very excited to be part of this community now. I feel, what's interesting to me is it feels like, I went through the CD-ROM days, right? And we were building, one of my biggest, most things that I'm so most proud of is I was kind of worked on, and we built the very first interactive cartoon called Toonland back in the day on 386, 25 megahertz Windows machines with 4 mega RAM. Man, those were the days, having to build without any horsepower and stuff. But it's interesting, the DeSo community, this whole thing that's going on, it reminds me of that period of time, because I used to be hanging out in the cyberpunk scene with all these guys with Timothy Leary and stuff back in the day, where we'd be in garages with code guys writing code for the early days of CD-ROM. This whole movement kind of feels like that. It's like this really tight niche, small community of people. Everybody kind of knows everybody's name, and it's starting to grow. But yeah, I'm very excited about the future. I'm a big proponent of kind of the concepts of what this all means. I've been mainly focused in the NFT space now for a bit. I have a company called Think NFT. And, I try to explain to people, what are NFTs? And to me, the whole movement it really represents freedom. I think it's freedom from an old system that we've had. I think this is finally the chance, especially in the creator community, for the creators to be able to take over to basically take control again of their content, of everything. And, the whole idea of the greatest direct to consumer business model there is, wallet to wallet, no third party, the idea of how royalties will come. And then when you start looking at the DeSo side of things and, what that represents as far as controlling your content and controlling your community, owning your community, because whoever owns the audience wins in this game. And it's just it's like I said, it's very exciting. And it's interesting. We're getting ready, just kind of jump on this real quick. We're getting ready to launch a thing called Rock Money, which is really about the concept of we're mashing famous rock photographs that have never been seen before. I'm doing this with a guy named Arthur J. Williams. And he's famous because he is the world's greatest counterfeiter, right? So he had actually counterfeited the $100 bill. Got away with for a long time, but then got turned in and did some time for that.
Can he counterfeit some Bitcoin for us?
I know that would be great. But anyway, he's a great guy. He's been a great painter. He's got 3 galleries. He's doing this. So we kind of come together to put this sort of physical and digital kind of NFT collection together, mashing these original Rolling Stones photographs along with a bunch of my Pink Floyd photographs and a bunch of Stone Temple Pilots photographs, these unique things. But the main thing is it's about the decentralization. It's Rock Money. It's about the people taking back. So it's the movement of us taking back the systems, and DeSo is clearly part of that. So I'm very thrilled about being here today. And thank you for having me on your show, because I love being on the fact that I get to look back here in about 5 years after this whole thing starts to blow up and say, hey, we were there early, right?
You were on show 411, and now we're filming show 2500, right?
Yeah, that'll be great. So it'll feel good that now I feel like I'm a little late, because I'm at 400.
Nah, we're all early.
Still early.
I think like the music industry is like the perfect industry to better understand how NFTs can actually prosper, because traditionally within the music industry, so much money has been siphoned out from like the record labels and all that like with NFTs, the musicians can actually go direct to consumer. And that's just, I think, revolutionary for musicians.
Oh, big time. I mean, if you look at the market, I always kid about this. I mean, 40 years ago when I was playing clubs, right? It was $50 to $100 a night to play a club gig. It's no different today. It didn't inflate like everything else, right? You think we'd be at $500 a night or something, but no, it's still $50 to $100. Even some places, it's even gotten worse where they make you pay to play, right? You got to bring your own audience in order to get paid. So it's a crazy time. And yeah, this definitely shifts the whole thing. Because if you think of NFTs to me, what's so exciting about it is they're programmable, right? And they're basically loyalty programs. They're experiences. They're the greatest. For me, it's like the greatest way to tell a story. You have a great system in place, and it's actually, I feel like it's old home week for me, because when I was back doing all the all the interactive stuff, because I produced all the Monty Python series games, I did a whole series of educational titles in this interactive space. So all that interactivity and the way we thought about creating content back in the days is perfect for what we're doing right now. So for me, it's just like the same thing I've been thinking about for the last 30 years. It's an opportunity now in this case. But yeah, the musicians get a shot here now. And I like to tell this story. I go to a lot of these NFT meetups and drops and things because I like to hang in the community. And this girl got up, she was 19 years old, and she's a photographer. And not any famous photographer. She's just learning her craft. She said she got into NFTs about 9 months ago. And now she makes her entire living off of her NFTs. She pays her rent. She does all her stuff. But this is what I thought was profound. She says, oh, I wanted to help my community. So I carved a little chunk of every one of my sales off to my community center. And she says she was so proud. She gave them 2.5 ETH. Which at that time was $10,000. So think about that. How many up and coming artists that, the guys that are just kind of just starting out are actually not only making a living, but are actually to be able to give their community $10,000. I thought that was very profound, because I think what's wonderful about the whole NFT thing and the idea of smart contracts is we're now, instead of a give back mode, we're in a give forward mode. And listen, there's no question what we're witnessing here on the planet right now. There's going to be a lot of need to help a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of issues. And so I think this is an incredible moment in time. And we as the people have a shot at basically the concept of decentralization. I think that's the fight that we're going through right now, is basically whether we're going to be centralized on the, even if you go back to the banking system, the Western central banks, the Fed and everything, they want to put us on a centralized system. We're saying, no, we want to be over here where we get to control the money and not be slaves to the system. It's like, let's print some more money. Yeah, how many zeros is that? Do they just type it in? And the next thing you know, we're slaves to pay it all back out of nowhere, right? So I think this is a very interesting time. We're seeing, again, like we were talking earlier, just the censorship issues and stuff, what this could mean for that, and the concept of, maybe Twitter joining up forces here. And, now that Elon's come on and kind of really pushing for this idea.
Yeah, I think Elon's onto something with what he's doing. And I think the way he wants to, allow people to verify their accounts with a credit card, I think that's really good. I do think they do need to decentralize the data though. And I think DeSo would be a great solution for Elon to use. Whether he opts to go in that direction or not, who knows? But I think we're on a good path. And I think we were talking earlier and you said, we're going to be stuck in Web 2.5 for a while before we can really make a full swing over to Web 3. And I think that's like so accurate, because it's going to take time. You can't just decentralize an entire Twitter database in a matter of days. You have to have a plan in place, and you have to make sure you're putting it onto a blockchain that you can really trust and that you think is the ultimate solution.
Yeah. A big thing is the heavy lift that we have technically when you're dealing with blockchain and, the speeds, and there's a lot of issues and stuff that still need to get figured out. Again, the whole idea of smart contracts going across chains, that becomes a problem. And there's a lot of issues, but I believe that everything from an NFT point of view will be NFT'd. Your hair salons, your freaking, bars, everybody's going to be using NFTs, because it's basically how we're going to interact with the things around us. And don't forget, as we move into Web3 and the concept of metaverse and stuff, NFTs and stuff become the currency. Right. That's how we're going to have transactions. It's funny. I had heard somebody talking about, we've had this metaverse stuff for a while. It was called, some of the early,
Second Life.
Like Second Life stuff. We had that. But the difference is we didn't have NFTs there for this transaction and the way we can conduct business. So this is a very exciting time. And you can see how this is going to blow up everywhere, I believe. But we definitely have a lot of technology hurdles. There's a lot of people that are saying, centralized is really the only way because of efficiencies and things. So, I think it's going to be a combination for a long time. But the idea of decentralization in general, even if you look at the states, everything moving to the states is a form of decentralizing as opposed to having one space. So I'm happy to have blocks of decentralization if we can't have it fully decentralized, but at least we have some form as opposed to one system.
And I think NFTs, people look at NFTs as simply being JPEGs, like simple JPEGs and art. But in the future, and probably in the near future, it's going to be so much more than that. Like you said, musicians can use it. You can be a currency in the metaverse. it can be so much more. It's essentially can certify anything, whether it's a physical or digital object. It can essentially be the certification for that.
Yeah, but even more than that, it creates new business models because I can now build into my NFT the rights, roles, and permissions to be able to hand to somebody else to go build on top of it and still collect my money and my royalties and still be part of it. I mean, you're definitely seeing this crazy shift in business models. That's why I try to explain to people Bored Apes. You know, they said, well, how can this little JPEG be worth $1 million, right? But they don't realize it's a decentralized brand.
Right.
It's the idea. You got 10,000 people that own the brand and have the rights and roles to build on top of it. I mean, I know a couple of guys, 4 Bored Ape guys are building a television show on top of it. And other guys are building clothing lines. There's all these new business models that get built on it. So I try to explain to people, it's kind of like if Nike did the swoosh and you had 10,000 different swooshes, a red one, a blue one, a green one, ones with diamonds and stars and everything. And now once I have that, I could go create my own shoe line. I could create my own thing. So that concept of a decentralized brand is really powerful. The business models that you can build on top of these.
You might have just given Nike a $1 billion idea right there.
I'm telling, imagine having 10,000 people lifting the boat. So again, these guys, if they go build this television show and it goes and takes off, it's going to lift the rest of the people that have ownership.
Right. Yeah, and I would just want to go back on something you mentioned about the photographer who was earning, selling NFTs and then giving back to our community. And something that a lot of people don't realize that DeSo has is this follow graph and these usernames where any NFT artist could actually say any sale that I make and any secondary sale I make, this percentage of those sales go to this account. So that's really powerful because when you start getting charities coming onto DeSo, you're going to have NFT artists, creators, designers, all having the ability to trustlessly give to these charities, and it's all on chain, all verifiable. So that's just something that I think a lot of people are missing out on. I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, and also the DeFi model where you can actually put them in wallets and stick the money and then use the interest. We're doing that right now. I'm working with a fellow out of New York he goes by Soho Johnny, and he started a foundation called the Let Me Help Foundation. The whole idea is we're basically generating revenue, putting it in the wallet, taking the interest and using the interest to go help. So we're actually just growing the size of the interest base. So it's crazy cool. There's a lot of good things that can come out of this, you know, as long as the humans don't get in the way. Remember, that's our problem. All these things are great. These systems are fantastic, but then you have that human condition that gets in the way. And so we've got to fight that one, right? We got to be careful because, you know, we're actually, you know, if you think about it, we're in a very interesting time with AI and humans. I have a kind of a theory. I think humans are designing themselves out and the robots are going to basically take over time. It's just another form of consciousness. Even the machine is conscious in a sense, right? And, you know, that whole concept of, you know, boy, robots and stuff, these AIs not near as smart as humans. I think that part is starting to go away because especially when you start looking at quantum computing and what that's going to do. I mean, that's a whole other
Terminator too.
Yeah, exactly. So interesting time. So us humans got to be very conscious and hopefully make it, you know, help wake people up in a conscious way so we don't go down that funky rabbit hole.
Yeah. So Alex, I just want to get to you because you obviously onboarded Scott. Thank you for that, obviously. But you're doing a lot of work onboarding people. I know you just drive by your neighbors, you roll down the window and then tell them, hey, have you heard about DeSo? So tell us about that. Tell us how you're dealing with that, what your feedback has been and where you think that's going to go over the next several months.
In the beginning, when I first got here, I didn't know my place on DeSo, and I slowly got really excited. It took me only about a week or two to go like, this is a huge opportunity that I had no clue existed. And then it was this kind of euphoric sense of like, well, if I know about it, everyone else has to know about it. So I just started onboarding like everybody. And I have a plan now. I have a vacation coming up in July, although my wife is not super happy about this concept, but I'm thinking we're on a cruise. I'm thinking about onboarding while on board. Like a whole plan, like to take half the cruise ship out and bring them to DeSo. My wife's not super excited about that. Every time I have the opportunity, whether it be in a supermarket or in my neighborhood or literally anywhere where I see someone that could potentially benefit from the model of having a creator coin as well as being diamonded for their content, I really believe that people have value. Everybody has value to add to this platform. I try to bring them on, and now I'm trying to be node or app specific. If I see that, if I overhear someone maybe speaking a different language, I'll hit them up and tell them about DeSo's World. If I believe someone's a musician, I tell them about Musai, right? So like, oh, did you realize that you can have, micro tipping happening if you're a musician and you had your stuff on, Musai? And they're like, had no clue. And then try to educate a little bit about the the blockchain and what that means. And most of the time people are like, oh, this is crazy. This is amazing. And no one knows about it. My strategy has kind of changed a little bit just because now I've realized it is very early. I was more of like, oh, this is gonna pop right away, and then realizing we're a little bit early. So now it's really about, come in, be a part of the community, and realize that you are super early and you're a part of something big. Like, it's gonna be big, but you can't expect it to be big right away. So I'm trying to promote retention, because a lot of people come and think like, oh, I didn't make any money. Like if that's your only driving factor to be a part of DeSo right now, you'll be disappointed. But if you come in and really, put in the time and get to know people and realize that we're building. So yeah, I came in and who's going to tell you this story, but Maintain the Reason and I met on Nacho Average Call. And the first week I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing here. Like, I don't understand why I'm here. Like, Goldberg told me to get on Nacho, and I did. And I'm like, okay, like I will never buy an NFT. I'll never make an NFT. I just don't understand. Like, I'm here to network. That was pretty much my stance. And within a couple of weeks, it just kind of snowballed. And now every time I say something, goes, see, I told you, you'd figure it out. Figure it out. I bought NFTs. I made NFTs. We even wrote a song on just craziness. Just
yeah, I definitely commend you for that. Like, just onboarding people and retaining them is important. But I think before we go, Scott, where do you see Web3 going? Where do you see DeSo going? Are you going to onboard anybody else to DeSo? What are your final thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the plan. So I've kind of been working with Mr. Triplett. So part of what we're doing at Think NFT is we've got a whole bunch of live events coming up. So we're doing live and virtual kind of deals. So like when I met him, we had just produced the 2 big events for NFT LA at Wisdom. We did the Think Floyd, our Floyd show we do. And then we did Steve Aoki the second night. Now we've got coming up a variety. We got NAMM show, National Music Stern. So we're doing an event there. So I'm bringing DeSo along with me to that, sort of kind of hip people to that at the music convention. And then we have NFT New York coming up, which we're doing. So we're doing events 3 days there in Soho. We have 5 locations in the Soho district, which we're doing a crawl, walking around, we're going to be showing some great new technologies. I'm going to be launching our Rock Money thing there. We're going to be doing that. And then after that, we also have oh gosh, I just did a blank. I'm doing one of those blank. Future Shape 360 out of Denver, which is going to be kind of the top 360 people in the Web3 space, kind of a more of a think tank. We're going to be doing that event coming up with Deadmau5 and a variety of folks. And then we're going to be doing weekly stuff in town here, which we're bringing the whole DeSo community. And so my whole thing is doing these live events and then bringing the community along to kind of help grow it. So yeah, we're definitely in the mode of starting to get people on. We're going to be bringing on all my ThinkX band guys, because it's a great band. Steve Perkins from Jane's Addiction, Nord Fish from Fishbone, Kenny Old Kid Rock's band. I mean, we've got a whole bunch of folks that we're going to start planning to bringing into the community to kind of help grow this. So we have a series of events that we'll be doing all throughout the rest of the year.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And
we got to drag you guys along too, man.
I wish we were closer to LA. We're all the way on the East Coast in Florida, but
whereabouts are you? Where are you guys?
Fort Myers.
Where are you?
Fort Myers.
Where's
Fort Myers, Florida.
Fort Myers. Okay. Are you going to be at NFT New York?
When is it? What's the date for that?
That's the 2020. Let me see.
20th through the
23rd.
Yep.
Yeah, of June.
Didn't plan on it, but maybe we'll have to make a flight up there.
Yeah, come on, don't be weird.
That's pretty awesome. You're going to be there.
I got up at 6 a.m. I'm up for you guys. Come on.
Okay, we'll try. We'll try our best.
All right, well, I just want to thank you guys again for coming on the show, and it's been great talking to you. And I know, Mr. Triplett, you're so vital to DeSo, and Scott, it's so great to have you on I hope you can bring more people on and you can become an active member in the community.
This is a big deal. This is the people's movement. This is an opportunity. We have to band together as community. That's what I love about this is the community. The spirit in this community is fantastic. Everybody's very upbeat and it's fun to be around. I feel like a kid again, like I've joined something that's like, I feel special about the game. So a lot of fun. So all you folks out there, come on in. The water's fine. Jump in with us. Let's go.
You heard Scott.
Come on.
All right, everybody have a great day and we'll talk to you tomorrow.